Dr. Little? Oh, it went to, okay. Were you going to go?
Oh, yeah. So also we have an operations update. Mr. Salters, I believe this is going to be a regular occurrence over the next little bit. So if you could.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
Thank
think
you,
you're
Dr.
going to
Little.
be really busy.
Yeah, we will continue to bring you pictures of our new construction projects, and certainly we'll be launching many of those over the course of the next few years, and we'll have a lot of pictures for you to look at and opportunities for you to visit our campuses where these projects are going on. Tonight, Beechwood Middle School, just want to give you a few glimpses of this. It's always tough to follow the CAFR and accountability reports, but I'll plug my way along through this and also the hours at hand. So we have, pictures are, so we have significant progress at the site. I wish the ground looked like this now. Many of you were at the site last Tuesday for a tour, and it was pretty wet then, and it has not gotten any better. In fact, it's only gotten worse. So there's a lot of mud that they're negotiating around the exterior of the site. The good news is they're able to continue on with work on the inside. A lot of these areas are roofed and in the dry now, and so we can make some progress inside. So just to orient you again, this is the front of the school here, the front parking lot. The main drop-off drive will be here. Front entry of the school is here. Auditorium and gymnasium here, and our front office, and then our classroom wings and cafeteria in the back. And then this is kind of a more direct shot there as the front entry is taking shape. So really pleased with the progress on site. Again, as I mentioned, some of you were out there last week, and I think it's really coming together nicely, and you can see some of the spaces and the quality of work that we're experiencing there with our contractor. Shot of the rear of the campus, you can actually see 378 up at the top there. Kind of gives you an orientation. The Summer Lake neighborhood would be up here on the left as you're looking at it. And just a few more aerial shots. And then this is actually in the main office area. So you can see our walls are going up, some ductwork in place. One of the hallways in the main office area. This will all be finished out with sheetrock. This is the Center Commons area. It's a little difficult to see from this picture, but you've got the media center over here on the right, and then a Center Commons stairwell there, and then your classroom wings would be on your left.
Can I say something about
Yes.
I love that. This is going to be a code to the future school. It's going to be a coding immersion school.
Yes.
And I loved how the architects, they were telling us those windows right there, those are coding symbols. And instead, because it doesn't cost any more, they were putting windows in, but they made the windows actually coding symbols.
Yep.
And I just thought that was so clever.
Yeah, little features like that to try to inspire some learning.
I want to thank you, Mr. Salters, for absolutely on your day off that you took 4 of us to tour the school. And also, I was so impressed with our architects and the input that they get from our administrators, their special attention to the special needs kids that are going to be there, and they designed a whole different drive for them, so they get off the bus and they go straight to their wing. Those are students with mobility issues and so forth, but they really listen. And anyway, I was pretty impressed with the whole building. Excited for it to open.
Well, that comes from a team approach. Dr. Talley's staff really is very supportive in our design process, and not shy about feedback they give. So that's really, which is really great because it helps.
That's what we need.
It helps the process out along very, very nicely.
If I could just jump in real quick, it was we were out there on Tuesday, which is election day, which was the schools were closed, but this school was not closed. It was like a small city inside with hundreds of people working, even though it was pouring rain outside and freezing cold. And from what the HG Reynolds, the construction folks said they regularly have 100 to 150 people out there working all the time.
Yes.
It's a pretty impressive little organism going on out there.
It's very, very nice to see
So
that many
we-
people working. This is a look inside the media center. We have several other shots of that as we go through. But you can see a lot of progress throughout the building. You will see soon some of the areas starting to get windows and get dried in, and that's really where we'll start turning some of the air conditioning on and drying the building out, and then you'll see some of the finishes starting to come into play. Typical classroom, nice to see some ceiling grid in, so that's when you know you're really making progress. We've got some paint on the walls, first coats of paint in some areas. Again, this is a look from upstairs. You're actually looking back at the main entrance. The office is over here. You're actually looking right there at the school resource officer's office, which is located right there at the front entry. And then the library media center right here on the left. This is actually a shot from upstairs, but you're looking out through the windows of the media center across the way to a couple of the fine arts classrooms. Again, in that area, and this is your main entry and your first classroom wing over here on the right.
Mr. Salters, I just wanted to comment too. I was so impressed with the functionality of the building, but even more so, am so impressed with all the security and safety features that you guys have worked with the architects and designed. The school felt so secure, it's encapsulated. Some of the things you put in for the entrances, in fact, you were telling us when we were walking out, I think it was on the end of one of the halls near the media center, y'all were talking about how you tweaked that to make it even more secure. And, that's what we hear from our parents. So I just really appreciate y'all working with them through
Yeah,
that.
and this is a good example of some of that feedback. We have natural light. You have a balance between natural light and then also safety and security. And in this school, we have door frames that have a side light. You can kind of see it right here. This is the doorway, and then a side light piece of glass there to be able to look in. But you also have a concrete wall where students can in an event of a lockdown, can get out of sight. And so that's some feedback that our students and parents have shared with us, and we've incorporated into the design. This is a hallway, classroom hallway, very similar to what you might see at River Bluff, where we use this model where it's wider as you start unloading students down the corridor, and it gets more narrow as you get to the end of the hallway. Just more efficient way to use the space. And then you can also use this as a collaborative space for students. A shot from looking into the cafeteria over the courtyard there. And this is, again, the courtyard area. These are some art classrooms that will have access out onto the courtyard, the gymnasium in the background. So with that, I'll be happy to answer any questions. I'm pleased to tell you that even with all the rain we've had, we are still on schedule and plan to open in August of 19.
I know we've already talked about this tonight, but that is the prototype that we're going to be using for the new Pillion Middle School and for Lexington Middle School when we acquire the land for Lexington Middle School. But that is the same format, correct?
That is correct. It'll be that same footprint.
I think it's a great plan.
Well, and I want to go on record saying that we're spoiled as a board because this is fairly seamless process for us, thanks to you and the team's leadership. And similar to our audited financials, a lot of school boards have to spend energy focusing on that, and really we should be partnering with Dr. Talley and her team focusing on instruction. And so thank you for your diligence in that space, especially as we start this next bond referendum, because we want to focus on instruction, but this is an important part of that. So,
Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay.